You know, when you think about Russian cinema, it always feels like it carries this immense weight, this sense of history and huge philosophical questions. Well, today we're diving into that world by looking at two modern masters, two filmmakers who came out of the collapse of the Soviet Union and gave us two totally different visions of what Russia is and what it could be. This quote just nails it. The fall of the Soviet Union in 1991 wasn't just about politics changing. It was like the entire cultural and spiritual ground fell out from under everyone's feet. Suddenly, there's this massive void. And if you're an artist in that moment, what do? What does it even mean to be Russian anymore? And what's the point of making art when the world you knew is just gone? And right out of that void, we get these two incredible filmmakers who basically represent a fork in the road for how to answer those questions. On one side, you've got Aleksandr Sokurov. He's the painter. He turns his camera inward, using film to explore the human spirit. And on the other side, Andrei Zvyagintsev. He's the surgeon. His camera has a scalpel, and he's using it to cut open the body of the modern Russian state to show us the disease inside.
Now here's the really wild part. They both come from the same artistic DNA. Their cinematic father, if you will, is the legendary Andrei Tarkovsky. But they take his legacy and run in completely opposite directions. So that's the core of what we're going to unpack here. How does one director, Sokurov, build these beautiful aesthetic shelters to escape a broken reality, while the other, Zvyagintsev, grabs you by the collar and forces you to stare right at it?
Okay, so let's start with the most obvious thing. Just how their films look. And believe me, this isn't just a style choice. It's their entire philosophy, made visible right there on the screen.
So, with Sokurov, you have to understand he is not interested in showing you reality. Not at all. He wants you to feel something, an internal state. He totally rejects the idea that the screen is a window into a 3D world. Instead, he flattens everything, turning it into what some critics call haptic art. Basically, art that you almost feel like you can touch. It's a moving painting, and it's meant to be an experience, not just a story you watch.
I mean, reflected in the surface of a teardrop. That description is just perfect, isn't it? And to get that look, Sokurov is actually physically messing with the image. He uses these custom-built lenses. He'll shoot through painted mirrors or angled glass to distort everything. So what you get is this hazy, dreamlike, incredibly fragile texture. Feels like you're watching a memory, and it's deliberately pulling you away from a logical, clear-headed view of the world.
And then you have Zvyagintsev, and he does the absolute total opposite. He wants you to see everything, and with brutal clarity. His camera isn't creating a dream, it's collecting evidence. It's sharp, it's unforgiving. He uses deep focus and this incredibly crisp photography to show you a reality so stark and detailed that you literally cannot look away. It's not a painting, it's an autopsy.
Let's just break this down side by side, because the contrast is stunning. Look at this. Sokurov's column is all about distortion, blurring, flattening space. His colors are these murky, almost decaying greens and browns, like in his film Faust. And his camera just floats, like it's detached from gravity. Then you look at Zvyagintsev. It's razor-sharp hyperrealism, a crushing sense of depth and scale, and this cold, sterile palette of blues and grays. His camera doesn't float, it's locked down, watching from a distance like a cold, indifferent judge.
So this huge visual difference isn't just for show. It comes from what these two men believe about the world, about where you find meaning, or if you can find it at all. Let's dig into what their films are actually saying.
Sokurov has this fascinating idea of spiritual materialism. He believes the soul isn't some abstract thing out there, it's hidden inside the physical world. I mean, his film Faust literally opens with the main character digging through the guts of a dead body asking, where is the soul? For him, nature, the connection between a mother and son, he even inverts the famous Pieta statue with the son carrying his mother, all of these physical things become sacred. And in a broken world, art and culture are the only real sanctuary we have.
Okay. Now, to get Zvyagintsev, we need a quick detour into political philosophy. Trust me, it's worth it. We have to talk about the Leviathan. This is an idea from the philosopher Thomas Hobbes. Basically, it's the social contract. We, the people, give up some of our individual freedoms to a powerful state, and in return, the state protects us from chaos. It keeps us safe. Well, in Zvyagintsev's masterpiece, which is literally called Leviathan, he shows us what happens when that contract is completely shattered. The story is about a regular guy whose home and land are being stolen by a corrupt local mayor. And in this world, the state isn't a protector. It's the monster. It's a predator that uses the law, the police, everything, not to keep you safe, but to chew you up and spit you out.
And this is where Zvyagintsev lands his most vicious punch. The corruption isn't just in politics, it's this unholy marriage of church and state. So the mayor steals the land, and what does he do? He goes to the bishop for advice, and the bishop basically tells him all power comes from God, giving him a divine green light to be a tyrant. The movie ends, chillingly, with a brand new church being built right on the ruins of the hero's life. For Zvyagintsev, spirituality has become a tool for the powerful to wash their hands.
So how do two directors, who come from the same artistic tradition, end up in such radically different places? Well, it all comes back to that shared cinematic father, Andrei Tarkovsky.
And this slide just puts it perfectly. Sokurov is the heir. He takes Tarkovsky's spiritual quest, his obsession with memory and the soul, and he pushes it even further, making it more abstract, more painterly. But Zvyagintsev? He's the rebel. He takes the style of Tarkovsky, the long takes, the slow, meditative pace, but he guts it of all the metaphysical stuff. He fills that beautiful contemplative frame with the ugly, hard truth of social and political rot.
So when you step back and look at the whole picture, what you have are two competing doctors giving two very different diagnoses for the health of modern Russia. One is checking its soul, the other is examining its body.
For Sokurov, the whole point is to build a kind of sanctuary. His films are like a cultural ark. He sees the modern world as a flood of political noise and chaos. And his job is to save the fragile, beautiful things, Russia's art, its history, its spirit, and carry them to safety. He's offering you an escape.
Zvyagintsev, of course, does the complete opposite. He's not building an ark, he's forging a mirror, a massive, unflinching mirror, and he holds it up to society and says, look. And what you see reflected is the ugly truth of corruption and state violence. With him, there is absolutely no escape. There is only confrontation. And this really is the final diagnosis, isn't it? Sokurov is the keeper of Russia's metaphysical memory. He's trying to perform a kind of spiritual preservation, to save the nation's soul. Zvyagintsev is the doctor of the political present. He's the one pointing to the X-ray and saying, look at the tumors growing in the body.
And all of this leaves us with a question that's so much bigger than just Russian film. In a world full of problems, what is art for? Is its job to be a refuge, a beautiful sanctuary that helps us endure the ugliness? Or does it have to be a weapon, a mirror that forces us to confront that ugliness no matter how painful it is? Through their incredible films, Sokurov and Zvyagintsev give us two powerful and maybe, just maybe, two completely irreconcilable answers.